Welcome to the Morning Download Podcast, your go-to resource for personal finance, economics, and market insights. In just 8 minutes a day, we provide valuable information to help you make better money decisions. Don't forget to sign up for our free newsletter at https:/www.morningdownload.com. Subscribe. Let's dive right in. In today's episode, we'll cover November's historical strength for stocks, Asia's strong markets compared to Europe's struggling ones, the rise of the S&P 500 and technology stocks, predictions for Ethereum and Bitcoin prices, the significance of food spending, and the importance of long-term market value.
Hey there, I wanted to share a fun fact with you all today. Did you know that November has consistently been the strongest month for stocks since 1950? I know, it's pretty remarkable. Despite all the fear and uncertainty that seems to be driving the markets right now, November has historically been a month where stocks tend to perform really well. It's like a burst of positive energy in an otherwise shaky year. It's always interesting to see these patterns emerge in the stock market. I mean, who would have thought that November would turn out to be so consistently strong for stocks? It just goes to show that sometimes, even in the face of fear, there can be some really positive outcomes. So, as we navigate the current market landscape, it's worth keeping in mind that November has a track record of being a good month for investments. Of course, past performance is never a guarantee of future results, but hey, it's nice to have a little ray of hope in these turbulent times. Today, let's talk about the latest updates in the economy and news. It's no secret that Asia is dominating the market, while Europe struggles and the US deals with inflation. Germany and the UK are said to be on the verge of a recession. On the bright side, China's growth forecast has been raised to 4% for 2023, thanks to better than expected third quarter growth and recent policy changes by Beijing. However, the IMF still expects growth to slow down next year due to weakness in the property market and subdued external demand. Meanwhile, India is making its presence felt as one of the fastest growing economies, clocking in at an impressive 2%. In fact, South Asia as a whole is growing faster than other emerging markets, with an expected growth rate of 6% this year. However, there may be challenges next year if the Israel-Gaza war spills over into neighboring countries. Moving on to global hits in the news, oil giant Saudi Aramco has seen a 23% decline in profits in the third quarter, thanks to lower crude prices and volumes. In addition, Epic Games has taken Google to court to challenge its App Store practices. On the financial front, some banks are facing delays in processing deposits, leaving frustrated customers still waiting to get paid. Finally, it's worth mentioning that U.S. credit card balances have seen the largest yearly increase on record, so it's important to keep an eye on personal financial management. It seems like November is shaping up to be a fantastic month for investors. Just yesterday, the S&P 500 climbed for the 7th day in a row, marking its longest winning streak of the year so far. How impressive is that? The S&P 500 increased by 4%, and this is the first time since November 2021 that it has enjoyed a 7-day winning streak. Pretty exciting stuff, right? It looks like technology stocks were leading the way, possibly because yields pulled back. It's always interesting to see how different sectors perform and what influences their growth. In other exciting news, there were some standout companies that contributed to this positive trend. For example, Datadog saw its stock soar by a whopping 29% thanks to strong earnings. And even though Uber's third quarter earnings fell short of expectations, their stock still managed to climb by 3%. That just goes to show that the market can surprise us sometimes. Now all eyes are on the central bank speakers, especially Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. People are eagerly waiting to hear what insights and commentary they have for us. Their words can have a big impact on the market, so it's always worth paying attention to what they have to say. So, it looks like there's some buzz about whether it's time to say goodbye to Ethereum. While Bitcoin is enjoying a great run, studies suggest that Ethereum might not have the same outlook. According to a recent survey, cryptocurrency experts have adjusted their predictions for Ethereum over the next 7 years. So, what are these new predictions? Well, the panel of experts has forecasted that by the end of 2023, Ether will be worth around $1,840 on average. This is a drop from the previous prediction of $2,451 that was made back in July. The forecast for 2025 has also fallen slightly to $5,824, down from the earlier prediction of $5,845. And looking even further ahead to 2030, the experts now predict that Ether will be valued at around $14,411, compared to the previous estimate of $16,414. Interestingly, Bitcoin seems to be gaining more positive attention when it comes to price targets. This could be due to the growing interest and talk surrounding Bitcoin ETFs. So, while Ethereum's future might be a bit uncertain at the moment, Bitcoin is riding the wave of optimism. Food is a crucial part of our budget, but how much should we actually be spending on it? Well, according to the Consumer Price Index, the average cost of eating food at home rose by 4% in 2022 compared to the previous year. And unfortunately, things have only gotten worse this year, with the index climbing 7% from September 2022 to September 2023. So it's safe to say that food costs are on the rise due to inflation. The United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, offers some guidelines to help families set their monthly grocery budgets. For example, a family of 4 can expect to spend around $1,582.90 a month on a liberal budget, $1,311, $50 on a moderate cost plan, $1,055, $80 on a low cost plan, or $975, $20 on a thrifty plan. These figures can give you an idea of how much to allocate for groceries based on your family's eating habits. Of course, every family is different, and there are additional factors that can impact your food budget. For instance, the age of your children plays a role, as teenagers tend to eat more. Men also tend to eat more than women. So if you have 2 teenage boys, your budget may need to be higher compared to a family with 2 teenage girls. Another budgeting method you can consider is the 50-30-20 rule. This rule suggests allocating 50% of your after-tax income for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and debt repayment. Groceries fall under the needs category, but not all food items are essential. For example, while rice may be a necessity, dining out at your favorite sushi restaurant is more of a want. It's important to plan carefully and stick to your budget. If you find that your allocated amount for groceries is not enough, you may need to adjust other areas of your budget or look for ways to increase your income. Remember, budgeting is a continuous process, and it's all about finding the right balance for your unique situation. Today's personal finance quote is from the legendary Benjamin Graham. He once said, "In the short run, the market is a voting machine, but in the long run, it is a weighing machine." Now, what does this really mean? Well, think about it like this. In the short term, the stock market can be quite irrational. It often reflects the emotions and sentiments of investors, rather than the true value of a company. This is where the whole voting machine analogy comes in. People vote with their money, and sometimes their decisions are driven by emotions rather than logic. But here's the catch. In the long run, things tend to balance out. Over time, the true value of a company tends to be reflected in its stock price. This is where the weighing machine concept comes into play. The market eventually weighs all the important factors, like a company's financial health, profitability, and growth potential. It's a reminder that short-term market fluctuations should not dictate our investment decisions. Instead, we should focus on the long-term fundamentals of a company. By doing so, we align ourselves with the weighing machine aspect of the market and increase our chances of making solid investment choices.
In today's episode, we discussed the resilience of November stocks, contrasting market performances in Asia and Europe, the impressive streak of the S&P 500, predictions for Ethereum and Bitcoin prices, the significance of food spending, and the importance of long-term market value. Thanks for tuning in to the Morning Download, your go-to podcast for personal finance, economics, and market insights in just 8 minutes a day. Don't forget to subscribe for more helpful content and sign up for our free newsletter at Morning Download. Subscribe.